Good day, everyone. In this presentation, I'll be explaining fiscal administration in local government units, especially fiscal autonomy, and how it helps local governments respond to the needs of their communities. So, what is fiscal autonomy? Fiscal autonomy means that local government units or LGUs have the freedom and responsibility to manage their own finances based on the needs of their community. They can decide how to raise funds and how to use them without always depending on the national government. This is important because each area has different priorities. So LGUs can respond faster and create solutions that fit their local situation. However, they must still follow national laws to ensure proper and transparent use of funds.
So good afternoon everyone. So our topic is all about fiscal autonomy. So the LGUs can generate revenues via local taxes, fees, and charges. So ang local government can collect taxes, fees, charges nga gikan sa mga businesses or local services. And then, og kanang kwarta nga ilang gina-collect is ginagamit nila to fund community projects or for community development. Second, allocate budgets to local priorities. So, ang local officials decides when to spend money depende sa needs sa community. For example, if ang barangay naka-experience og frequent flooding, ang municipal government allocates more budgets for drainage systems and flood control projects instead of building new offices. So third, borrow for capital projects. So ang local government can borrow money from banks or government financial institutions to fund large projects. So but they must follow legal limits. For example is ang municipality borrows funds from the DBP or the Development Bank of the Philippines to build new public hospitals because existing health centers are overcrowded. Fourth, retain or manage share of national taxes. So ang local government is maka-receive sila og share sa national taxes nga gikan sa national government or the NTA. So pwede ni silang handle og mag-manage sa kwarta based sa panginahanglan sa ilang community para sa services, programs o projects nga maka-benefit sa community. For example is ang annual NTA gamito nila sa pay salaries of barangay health workers, buy medicine and medical supplies, or support feeding program, maintain local infrastructures, or scholarships. So, practical example, a municipality in Bukidnon imposes a local business tax on stores and proceeds to repair barangay roads without seeking national approval for each expenditure. So, ang municipality in Bukidnon is nag-collect sila local business taxes from stores and market vendors together with its shares from national taxes. So ang local government decides to repair damaged barangay roads and improve drainage systems. Because of local fiscal autonomy, ang municipality is maka-implement sila og project without asking national approval for every expense, so allowing faster service to residents.
So, good morning everyone. Today I'm explaining the key features of LGU's fiscal autonomy. First is the taxing power. Authority to improve taxes, fees, and charges is permitted by law. So, local government unit or LGUs can collect taxes, fees, and charges allowed by law. This helps them to earn money to fund local projects. So kato mga like for example dito sa to ga-impose sila og mga tax sa atuan like mga vendors sa pagkuha og mga permits sa atong mga business, mga collect na sila sa mga vendors sa markets nga gagamit sila sa use of by the government. Ginagamit nila ang mga facilities like government. Mag-collect sila og mga tax like na itong ibayaran nga kuryente and tubig. Second is the resource allocation. allocate resources based on local priorities. LGUs can decide how to use their budget based on what their community needs most. They can prioritize like project health, roads, or evacuation. So, ang ilang kung resource allocation is pwede nila gamitin sa pag-create lang, pag-create or pag sa kwarta sa ilang resource allocation na pwede nila gamitin sa pagpayo sa mga roads, no, mga guba, paggamitin nila para magkuhan sila sa education, pwede sila magkuhan sa scholarship, no, ang ilang mga resource para matabangan dito ang ating mga people in communities. Kanabitang needs most nila panginahanglan. Third is the borrowing authority. Borrow for development project subject to limits. LGUs are allowed to borrow money fund to big development projects, but also they must follow the rules. You know, ayaw sila mag-budget o mag-development projects nila, ayaw nila maka-impose or maka-borrow sila money from the national. So, like for example, aning borrowing authorities, a municipal borrows funds mag-borrow ang municipal or atong LGUs, so para mag-build sila og hospital diri sa ato para mas convenient sa mga tao bitaw. Sakto lang duol-duol ra din sila magkato sa mga province nga mga hospital. So ilan ning payan ng mga budget para mas convenient na sa mga tao bitaw. But kani siya nga borrowing, di must follow the rules and the limits. So kailangan na approve ni siya sa local government, approve ni siya sa mga by law, ay sila magpapalo to create a budget for building a hospital, markets, or etc. Thank you.
So, good day everyone. So, my topic is all about legal basis. 1987 Constitution's Article 10, Section 5, the power to create revenue resources, and Article 10, Section 6, just share and national taxes automatically released. So, Article 10, Section 5, the Constitutions give LGUs the power to create their own revenue resources. This means provinces, cities, municipality, and barangays can collect taxes, fees, and charges. By raising their own money, LGU can fund the local project and services without depending entirely on the national government. So, the Section 6, this Section 6 that LGU must receive their fair and share of national taxes, now called the National Tax Allotment or NTE, previously known as the IRA. The national government is required to release this money automatically, meaning LGU should receive the funds on time and without delays and complicated procedures. So, the 1987 Constitution is the law that guides how the Philippines should govern, protect the rights of Filipinos, and ensure that the government services the people is a fair and democratic way. So the next one is the RA 760 LGC 1991. Primary Enabling Law, Book 2 governs local taxation, grants levy powers, defines IRA 40% formally, and prohibit double taxation. So, RA 7160 LGC 1991 is the primary law that guides LGU on how they can collect taxes. It provides complete instructions on what kind of taxes LGU can collect and how they should manage them. So the first one is the primary enabling law. So it is the main law that gives a government agencies or local government unit, LGU, the legal authority to perform certain powers or duties. It enables or allow them to act, decide, and implement programs according to what the law permits. The second one is the Book 2 govern local taxation. So Book 2 of RA 7160 governs local taxation, giving LGUs the authority to impose taxes, fees, and charges, while setting rules to ensure fairness, a proper use of funds for local services. Then the third one is grants levy powers. So levy means impose. RA 760 officially gives LGU the authority to impose taxes, fees, and charges on people and business with their area. This helps LGU raise money to provide services to their residents. So the fourth one is defines IRA 40% formerly. So International Revenue Allotment or IRA, formerly 40% of national taxes, is automatically gives the LGU under RA 7160 to ensure they have funds for essential services and local projects like health centers, schools, and roads, even if their local revenue is small. Last one is prohibits double taxation. Under RA 7160, LGU cannot impose taxes that are already collected by the national government, preventing double taxation and preventing citizen and business from being taxed twice on the same income or activity. Section 133, LGU are not allowed to impose certain tax already covered by the national government. And that's all. Thank you.
The Mandanas-Garcia 2019, this ruling increased the share of local government units LGU from national taxes. Before, LGUs only receive a portion from internal revenue taxes. After this ruling, the share now includes all national taxes like customs, duties, so the LGU get more funds. Before, a municipality received 50 million from the national government. After the Mandas Garcia, it now received 80 million or more. This extra money can be used for building roads, improving hospital, more social services. Executive Order No. 138/2021. The order supports the Mandanas ruling by transferring or developing more responsibilities from the national government units or LGU. It also provides a transportation or period 2022 to 2024 the LGU to prepare. Example is before the national government manage certain the programs. After EO 138, the LGU city or municipality now handles local health services, agriculture programs, and social welfare services.
Good morning, everyone. So, my topic for today is all about national tax allotment. So, what is national tax allotment? It is also formed ERA or internal revenue allotment. So, the national tax allotment or NTA is the automatic share of money that local government unit receive from the national government. So, it is guaranteed by the Constitution, Article 10, Section 6. So, it is also stated in the Local Government Code, Section 284. So, expanded through the Mandanas Garcia routing, which increased the funds of local government units received. So, in simple terms, national tax allotment, it is the money given by the national government to provinces, cities, municipalities, and barangays to support their projects and services. The national tax allotment also ensures that all the government units have funds, but those with bigger responsibility, more people, and land receive more support. So, for example, if two municipalities earn the same local income, so one with more population and larger land our area will get higher national tax allotment. So even if their local revenue in the same size and population matter more.
National Tax Allotment or NTA. Distribution, LGC. Province, 23%. Ang cities is 23%. Municipalities, 34%. Barangay, 20%. A total of 100%. Number 2 is allocation factors. Allocation factors. Population, 50%. Land area, 25%. Equal sharing, 25%. Example namin is kanang ang inti is nagkuha sila ng kasunod budget of total of 100 million nga ma-distribute siya sa upat ka kung sa LGU, which is province, cities, municipalities o barangay in a region. So ang pagbahay na ni is mag-base sila sa 20%. Like katong sa 100 million is sa province 23% raman nila, so nasa 23 million pod. Sa cities napod sila 23 million kay 23% man pod sila. Ang municipalities napod sila nasa 34 million kay 34% man sila. Barangay is 20 million kay 20% lagi sila. So mato sila magtotal po sila og 100 million. Motong ditong ingaton ang pagkuhan sa distribution. So sa allocation factors is 1. Sa kung man ang allocation factors is kada katungkuan sa LGU, like katong province bahino na sa to siya sa ikatulo, katong like sa 23 million, katong sa province sa 23 million kaya nasa 23%. So sa pagabot sa allocation factors, magbase na po sila sa population nga nay 50%, land area nga nay 25%, equal sharing nga nay 25%, which is 100% po. So sa pagkuan na sa pagbahay na is population is na 50%. So katong sa 23 million, tungaan to niya into 50% sa population, kuhaan to niya 50% para sa population. So na 11.5 million para sa population. So sa land area is kuhaan naman sila 25% naman sila. So na sila ay 5.75 million. Kan same po sa equal sharing kay tapos ay 25%, tapos 5.75 million. More to ang kuha lang isa ng same method pag-apply ra gid sa pag-allocate sa mga allocate sa cities, provinces, municipalities o barangay. Mag-adjust sila based on sa specific nga population, land area o equal sharing. Para ma'am.
Executive Order number 138, the full devolution. And the Executive Order number 138 is the policy in the Philippines that transfer more responsibilities and functions from the national government agencies to local government units like provinces, cities, municipalities, and barangays. This policy support the Mandanas Gracia ruling, which increased the national tax allotment of LGUs. Since the LGUs now receive more funds, they are also expected to handle more services and programs for their communities. The main goal of this is to give more power, responsibility, and resources to local government so they can respond faster and better to the needs of their local communities. So, devolved functions are services or responsibilities that used to be handled by national government agencies but are now transferred to LGUs. And this means that LGUs become responsible for planning, implementing, and managing services in this area. Like for example, the health services. LGUs manage health centers, hospital, vaccination programs, and community health services. And the municipality or the municipal government manage the local health unit and provides free checkups and medicines to residents. And the next is the transition for year 2022 and year 2024. In this time given for LGUs and national agencies to prepare the full transfer of responsibilities. During this time, the both sides work together, gradually move the functions to LGUs. And what happens during this transition? So first is preparation of devolution transition plans. The LGUs and NGAAs create plans on how the responsibilities will be transferred. Second is the capacity building. LGUs receive training, technical support, and guidance to handle the new responsibilities. Third, gradual transfer of programs. So it means that some programs are slowly turned over from national agencies to LGUs. And the last is the coordination between LGUs and NGAA. They work together to make sure services continue without interruption. Like for example, before the Executive Order 138, the Department of Agriculture directly managed many farming programs, and during the transition, the DA trains LGU agriculture offices and share resources. And after the full devolution, the municipality or the municipal agriculture office directly manage local farming programs, while the DA focuses more on policy, monitoring, and national planning. And in the simple term or sa dali nga para masabtan, ang Executive Order 138 gahatag siya og more power and responsibilities sa LGUs, and the devolved function services transfer from national government to LGUs, while the transition period is the time for LGUs to prepare and slowly take over these responsibilities. So that's all. Thank you.
Challenges of fiscal autonomy. Many LGU, especially rural, rely 60 to 80% on transfer, reducing initiative for local revenue mobilization. Because LGU receive money automatically from the national government, they may become too independent and stop trying to increase their own income through local taxes, businesses, and investment. This weakens their ability to become financially independent. Like for example, a small municipality in Bukidnon use of its NTA for employees' salaries and basic project instead of creating new sources of income like tourism or business development. They continue to rely on NTA every year. Second, outdated property tax valuation suppresses real property tax yield. When the value of land and buildings is not updated, the taxes collected remain low. Even the actual market value has already increased. This results in lower income for the LGU. Like for example, a business area become more developed and property price increase, but the LGU still use old values from many years ago. Because of this, they collect less real property tax than they should. Third, limited technical capacity, shortage of trained finance personnel, audit weakness. Without skilled personnel, LGU may have difficulty in planning, budgets, managing funds, and ensuring transparency. This can lead to poor financial decision and inefficiency. Like for example, a municipality does not have enough trained accountants, so they struggle to track their expenses properly. As a result, some projects are delayed or questioned during the audits.
Challenges to fiscal autonomy. First, inequitable resources base. Urban LGUs generate for more local revenue than rural islands municipalities. So, fiscal autonomy means local governments, LGUs can manage and use their own monies, but not all LGUs have the same resource and ability, so they can face problem. Example of inequitable resource: a city like Quezon City has many businesses, malls, and companies, so it collects high taxes. So second, post-Mandanas pressure. LGUs now receive more monies from the national government, but they also have more responsibilities. Some LGUs are not ready to handle bigger tasks. So example, a municipality receives more funds after the Mandanas ruling. So, another, but they don't have enough trained staff or system to manage project.
Summary and next step. The first one is understand legal framework. Before making financial or governance decision, you need to know the laws and rules that apply. This includes the Constitution, local government codes, executive order, and mandates that define what you can and cannot do. Example, a city government check the law before increasing property tax rates to ensure it stay within legal limits. Second is access revenue option. This means identifying all possible ways to the local government or organizational can generate income and reduce reliance on internal funding like national government transfer. Example is increasing efficiency and collecting local taxes, property tax, business tax. Third is build capacity. Strengthening the scale system and process of staff so they can manage financial and operational effectively. Example is training finance of officers on budgeting and auditing. Fourth is strengthen intergovernmental links, ensuring good coordination between different levels of government, local, regional, national for smooth implementation of policies and services. Example is a city coordinating with province and national agency on infrastructure project.